So hello again and welcome to the Common Constitutionalist Weekend Audio Podcast. Yes, indeed, the audio version of the Weekend Podcast. And my name is Brent Smith, and I'm the Common Constitutionalist, and I'm not going to bother to explain why it's an audio podcast. It just is. So I'm going to be talking about one main topic, and I might pick up another one. The first one is going to be increasing racial tensions in America. And the second one, if I get to it, is Nancy Pelosi's gift, the gift that keeps on giving. Yay for Nancy. So we're going to be talking about that today on the Common Constitutionalist Weekend Audio Podcast.
You are listening to the Common Constitutionalist, broadcasting from an undisclosed location, free from the prying eyes of establishment black helicopters.
All right, I'm back. So I wrote an article this weekend for WorldNetDaily, as I always do. I write an exclusive column for them it posts every weekend, and it'll post on my site probably Monday or Tuesday of next week, or this week, I guess, tomorrow or the next day. Anyway, it was about the recent police body cam videos being released to refute the claims by leftists, mostly persons of color, claiming that they were persecuted by racist cops, you know. And in the article, I cited two incidences, one in Virginia and one in South Carolina. Now, both involved respectful and courteous white police officers and black drivers that they pulled over. And each was a legitimate traffic stop in which the people of color took to Facebook almost immediately after the fact to lie about what had occurred. And these weren't just little white lies. Ha, get it, white lies, because I'm such a racist. No, these were whoppers. And if you watch the video, the police automobile dash cam and the body cam, you can see that it's obvious that they didn't know who they were pulling over. They were just pulling over a vehicle that did something wrong. I watched the dash cam videos, and you can't tell who's in the car when you're pulling it over or when you're checking a speed cam or something like that. And frankly, nor do you care. You care that they technically or whatever broke the law, and you're there to enforce the law, and so you pull them over. Black, white, green, whatever. It doesn't make any difference. In other words, these racist white cops weren't out to get the people of color, so to speak. So the younger woman in Virginia, she distorted the stop and made it sound like the cop threatened her. But the body cam video and audio clearly shows that she was lying. And I go into greater detail in my WorldNetDaily article. So if you want to read that, either go to WorldNetDaily this weekend, or it's still posted up now, or you can check on my site Monday or Tuesday, and it'll be posted there, if you want the details. But yeah. Unless you want to read the article, it's probably not necessary just for the details. So the older man in South Carolina, who was also a local NAACP, hat tip Rush Limbaugh, he's the NAACP, L meaning liberal, president. This is the most unbelievable thing I've ever heard. He went on Facebook. He didn't do a FaceTime like the woman did, a Facebook Live type of thing. He just went on Facebook and put up a post on Facebook and just made stuff up. Like the cop he said, actually asked him whether he had drugs in the car or whether he owned the Mercedes, because, of course, he was a black man, and black men, unless they're criminals, can't own a Mercedes, and he was driving through a nice neighborhood. And, of course, black men in Mercedes never drive through nice neighborhoods unless they're up to nefarious means, don't you know? I mean, it's just absurd. But once again, body cam to the rescue, none of this happened, and it was all lies. And I'm talking huge freaking lies. But interestingly enough, as I posted in the WorldNetDaily article, the Facebook post mysteriously disappeared, as inexplicably as it was posted. Wonder why. So then that brings me to the latest making its way around the interweb and Fox News and various other sites and TV programs or whatever, news programs, of a hysterical female school board member. She had to mention that she was a school board member, as if that, is just like, why did you stop me? Do you know who I am? Type of nonsense. So she was a school board member in New Jersey and tells the officer to his face that she, and choking back the tears, that she's scared of cops because, quote, you guys hurt black people. Holy crap. Right to his face. And he just stood there and took this. I mean, what else is he going to do? I mean, it's just an insult. It's no reason to be physical or anything over that. But these guys have patience of a saint sometimes. I think when they just stand there and they take the abuse by these drivers, it's just unbelievable. Okay, so you may be wondering, all right, the common constitutionalist, what a dope. He already wrote about this. What the heck is he rehashing this? Why bring this up again? Well, I bring it up again because the problem is getting worse, not better. The tensions between races in America, the black separatist movement, however you want to classify it, it's only getting worse in America. And at the time that I wrote the WorldNetDaily article, I wrote it that I thought that the claims were done for the sole purpose of race baiting, like the a la Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, the exploitative race baiting and extortionist race baiting, I guess. To further tension and discord between the races. That's how they make a living. And to be sure, there is still some of that. There's no doubt about that's true. Now I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back to continue.
You're listening to The Common Constitutionalist. Let the truth be known.
All right, I'm back. Okay, so you've got this rash of people of color motorists being stopped by whitey-white cops, and they're complaining that the cops are racist and they're threatening and everything, and the body cams and the dashboard cams of the police officers' cars clearly show that the police officers are deferential, they're respectful, they're courteous, they're nothing but professional, and these people are just, they're off the hook with their I guess, their racial animus, for want of a better term. But then I got to thinking that this may not be the case for the majority of these incidences, particularly for those who are stopped who are younger. And a lot of the black millennials and those younger are angry. But why? Well, when they're asked, they really don't know why. They like their white compatriots, like their white liberal counterparts, they only revert back to the only thing that they know, the talking points that the other people have taught them, have shown them, and they just repeat the talking points. They have no original or critical thought of their own. So for that, I think that very few of these younger angry, the younger angry black set are purposeful race baiters like the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons, like I mentioned. They aren't consciously thinking, hey, if we espouse these race-baiting views, maybe I can make a darn good living like those other guys. I don't think they think in terms of that. They're too angry. But why? Well, it's because that they've grown up in an environment of anger and false oppression, that everything in the world that's wrong in their lives is the fault of whitey white man. It's what they've been exposed to their entire lives in a lot of cases, that whatever happens to you, it's not your own doing, it's someone else's fault. And that someone else is always the white man. Yeah, he's the one that's holding you down. And that's sadly what a lot of these younger blacks, the angry younger black set, that's a lot of what they've picked up over the years from the older set, the race baiters, the people that actually make a profit off of this, off of the separation between the races. You keep them angry, you keep them fired up, and you keep the cash all rolling in. That's how these guys have made their living, the Sharptons and the Jacksons and whatnot. But then it really kind of dawned on me what this sad situation is really like. Where have I heard this before? Where have any of us heard this before? And then the light bulb went off in my head. Oh, that's right. It's exactly like what's happening in the Middle East, in the Arab/Muslim world, particularly the Palestinians. All right, well, okay, it's not exactly like the Palestinian situation, but it's similar. I mean, blacks in America aren't being taught to strap a bomb to their chest for the sole purpose of killing white people, but the fear, the hate, and the false oppression being taught are very similar. And when you start looking into this, you realize that, through factual writings and different articles and interviews and whatnot with both the young and the old in the Palestinian territories and whatnot, that the only thing that these Palestinian children are taught from an extremely young age, the only thing that they've ever been taught is fear and hatred of the Jews and the nation of Israel. And it takes very little to find proof of this. In 2017, a report was published in the jcnetwork.com that the, quote, Palestinian Authority school curriculum is teaching the children the virtues of martyrdom and repeatedly refers to Israel as the Zionist occupation, an alarming new report has revealed. I guess it ain't new anymore, but it was from last year. They continue. The newly updated syllabus, the first since the Palestinian Authority published its 2000 curriculum as a part of the Oslo Accord, also includes greater emphasis on defending the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. Now dig this, while math books include calculations based around attacks on Israeli soldiers. That's incredible. It's like, how many pounds of explosives would little Ahmed need to blow up 30 Israeli soldiers combined in a 50 by 50 square foot area? Please show your work so that others can duplicate it and go kill Jews. Something like that. As absurd as that sounds, this is what they're teaching these kids in the Palestinian territories. Small freaking wonder that they're so angry and they don't really know why. And the report adds, quote, analysis by the influential Institute for Monitoring Peace and Cultural Tolerance in School Education Group, wow, acronym IMPACT, into school text concludes that they encourage young Palestinians to acts of violence in a more extensive and sophisticated manner, and that the curriculum focus appears to have expanded from demonization of Israel to providing a rationale for war, unquote. In other words, these kids have been brainwashed. No two ways about it. So in a way, you can't blame the kids necessarily because it's not their fault. They've been brainwashed. Hook, line, and sinker, they bought it because it's the only thing that they've ever been taught. So how could we expect them to act any other way? And it's the same, discounting the violence and the jihad and all that other nonsense, it's the same type of stuff that the angry youth black set is being taught by their elders. So, I mean, it's like I said that it's obviously not this extreme in America, but put it this way. If you spent your entire childhood in churches and surroundings by, like with people like Reverend Wright, the Reverend Wrights of this world, who preach hate and segregation and oppression and persecution by whitey white man, how do you think you're going to turn out? I mean, duh. So until this thing is turned around, and these kids get an actual indication or education of the way things can be and ought to be in America, where people work and live side by side and get along, as touchy-feely as that sounds, there's no reason in the world why we can't get along with one another, whether we believe the same things or not. It doesn't make any difference. We on the right are expected to be tolerant of everything, yet the people on the left are expected to tolerate nothing from us on the right. And again, I'm a whitey white guy. Apparently, it's a sin to be a white man. Well, through no fault of my own, I'm a white man. There ain't nothing I can do to change that. But I'm more than happy to reach out, and I would hope that the other side, the people of color, would reach out to me and we could find some common ground. So I guess that's about all I got to say on that topic. And I'll take a quick break, and I'll touch on the gift that keeps on giving, Nancy Pelosi. Ye doggies. Be right back. You're listening to me, the Common Constitutionalist.
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
All right, I am back, and you just gotta wonder about old Nancy and how the Democrats they've got to be reeling over this woman. How is she still have any authority at all in the Democrat Party is beyond me. How have they not tossed her overboard? I mean, look at Hillary. Hillary's been chucked overboard twice. Once in 2008 in favor of old Barack Obama. And then again, she lost miserably to a candidate that for all intents and purposes had no right winning the presidential election. But hey, you know, you're up against Hillary. What the heck, man? It's a nothing but net, brother. Just wow. So it wasn't hard to throw her overboard, but for some reason, like a bad penny, Nancy Pelosi just keeps showing up and they can't seem to get rid of her. They've got to want to get rid of this woman. So obviously the reason I bring this up is that, you know, Trump made the comment that MS-13, they're not even humans, they're animals. Well, duh, they are animals. Anyone, they are the most violent street gang in America. They make the mafia look like a bunch of freaking choir boys. These guys are nothing but pure freaking evil. And I'll tell you, they're not even good enough to be called animals. I don't know what they are. Subhumans. I don't know what they are. Vermin. Whatever. But, you know, calling them animals isn't even bad enough for these guys. They are the worst of the worst. And they pride themselves on being the worst of the worst, the most violent, the most feared gang in America. So I don't think anyone with any common sense or anyone with any sense on at all, left or right, batted an eye when Trump said that these guys weren't human, they're animals. But then Nancy Pelosi, because of her Trump derangement syndrome, it's a malignant cancer with her. With a lot of Democrats, but with her and Maxine Waters and these types of people, Trump can't do anything right. It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't matter what he says, what he does, whatever it is, they have to be, if he's for it, they have to be against it. If he's against it, they have to be for it. And so for her to come out and say that everyone, to defend MS-13 is just the most inane thing I've ever heard in my entire life, and the left has got to be reeling over this. That she says that there's divinity in everyone. Well, that may be true to a point, but I'll tell you, there ain't no divinity in the MS-13. These guys are hell on earth. These guys are devils, and there's no doubt about it. Maybe they're not animals, but they're spawned from hell. And there's no getting around it, and there's no sugarcoating it. And just the fact that Nancy Pelosi, because of her hatred for Donald Trump, trumps everything, pardon the pun, has to come out and says that there's divinity in MS-13. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, this woman she's a gold mine, and she is the gift that keeps on giving to Republicans, and they have got to hammer this during the election season. These Republicans, regardless of what the polls say, they're tightening and all that other crap. This is going to be a nail biter, and boy, I'll tell you, we are going to be in some deep duty if the Democrats win the House. Everything is going to everyone knows this. Everything's going to grind to a halt, and it's going to be nothing but impeachment for the foreseeable future, for the next 2 years. And so, I mean, the timing on this thing, it could have been a little later in the summer. It would have actually been better if it came out in like September, when everybody starts paying attention, when the regular voters, not us political geeks, we're paying attention 365, 24/7. We live for this crap. As frustrating as it is, we love it. But for the average voter, it's historically, they don't pay attention until after Labor Day. That's when it starts to count, and that's when they start to look at these candidates. So it would have been perfect timing that over the Labor Day weekend or something like that, Nancy Pelosi came out and said that there's divinity in MS-13. I cannot believe the insanity, and I would love to see one of these Democrat war rooms. There must have been, smoke billowing out of the room as they listen to her just asinine comments. It's just unbelievable. But like I said, she's so deranged. She hates Trump so much that it doesn't make any difference what he says. She has to be against it. It's amazing, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. So Nancy, keep it up, baby. Yeah. If the Republicans sweep the House, and hopefully they will, it's going to be because, in large part, because of people like Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters that are just hell-bent to get Trump out of office any way they can, and they don't care what they have to do, and they don't care what they have to say in order to do it. So that's all I've got this weekend for the weekend audio podcast of the Common Constitutionalist. Again, this is Brent Smith. I am the Common Constitutionalist signing off, and hopefully we'll be back on location next week with some video. Yay. See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Common Constitutionalist Weekly Podcast.